Hi, this is A.J. Bingham, and I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Regions Financial Corporation. Regions is a different kind of bank with branches serving Central Texas from Austin to San Antonio and the Rio Grande Valley. Regions can assist your firm with its M&A and investment banking needs, as well as specialty finance in the technology, healthcare, defense, and aerospace sectors. Learn more about Regions at www.regions.com, and you can find more information in the episode notes. Now on with the show.
Welcome to the BG Podcast, conversations at the intersection of business, community, and public policy from the Austin Metro and around Texas. You can find this episode and prior recordings at www.binghamgp.com/podcast and on iTunes and Google Play.
Hello, this is A.J. Bingham, CEO of Bingham Group. Our guest today is Austin Assistant City Manager Chris Shorter. Welcome to the show, Chris.
A.J., thank you so much. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to get you on, and I know it's been an eventful 8 months for you. You were appointed to this role in February of this year, of 2019, and it's been a fast track in terms of just getting involved in the community. A lot of the departments that are under your purview, we'll get to that, are front-facing with the city. Absolutely. Right? And that requires you to just be out there a lot more, I think, than relative to some of your colleagues would be. Before we get to that and the departments you cover, let's get some of your background. Like,
Absolutely.
Where'd you come most recently from, and just your path to just being assistant city manager?
Fantastic. Well, thanks again for the intro, and thanks for having me. You're right. I did start here in Austin in February of this year, and I came from Washington, D.C. I was in D.C. for 12 years. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, went to undergrad in Florida, graduate school in Pittsburgh, and then spent a few years in New York before going to D.C. But spent 12 years in D.C., primarily covering health and human services agencies. So as deputy director, COO, chief of staff in a few agencies. And my last 4 years in D.C. was director of public works in the city. And so many of the agencies that I'm supporting here in Austin cover that very long sort of tenure, if you will, in Washington, D.C. So here in Austin, I'm covering health, environment, culture, and lifelong learning, 6 agencies that, as you stated, are really quality of life agencies and play a very big role within our communities. And so it's public health, it's libraries, it's the Parks and Recreation System, it's our Office of Sustainability, Austin Resource Recovery, which is our solid waste management agency, as well as, I'm forgetting, I think I said public health. If I didn't, it's one of the biggest.
But a lot of ones that I think, again, are very front facing, and that I think most directly impact the lives of a lot of Austinites in one way or another.
Absolutely. So very excited to be here. It has been nonstop, and just in terms of getting to know the many sort of community members and stakeholders that play a part in making this city what it is. And so I've been embraced and welcomed with open arms, and just, again, really excited to be here in Austin.
Now, your feet are under you a bit. I mean, what most surprised you, or has surprised you, kind of the differences between Austin and maybe working in D.C., given I know the nuance that, kind of that the city of D.C. has with the Congress and everything else? Sure,
yeah. The city, D.C. is definitely a federal city. So you definitely have layers of government, layers of public service. Austin, what I appreciate so much about Austin in terms of this role is how active the community is.
In what ways?
I think it's very unique, actually, just in the dynamic that you find with our commissions and how active and comprehensive our sort of structure of quality of life commissions and other commissions that deal with quality of life issues. Community groups that come to our city council meetings, how actively in listening mode, if you will, our council members are in terms of how they receive community members, and how much a voice or a group of voices can really change the dynamic of a policy decision or direction. So I've just been very impressed with and excited about the nature of the community's involvement in our sort of public discussion around how we govern the city and what the future of the city will be.
That's an important point to make, too. I think a lot of people, and again, I'm a lobbyist, and I think people have this mischaracterization that we, kind of my colleagues, right, can just get a meeting with you and get what we want done. And I've been around. I mean, I'm sure you've operated in a lot of different city halls. I've been around Austin City Hall for a number of years now, and it's a very cooperative process. You work with a lot of different stakeholders to hopefully achieve some good policy outcomes. But in the day, I think definitely at the local level, municipal level, the people, the collective voice of people resonates with council and with on the city staff side.
Absolutely. I also really appreciate how much we depend on our staff and our government employees as experts, really.
I never get enough credit. I don't feel. As someone who's a council watcher, I don't think city staff, kind of the work you put into a lot of these policy objectives that are given by your colleagues in the council, they really get that due from the public side, right? Because a lot of work goes into some of these initiatives and ordinances.
Yes, it's to some extent it's the nature of local government, right? We get as local government practitioners, we get the benefit of seeing what we do help immediately, right? Which other layers of government at the federal level, for sure, regional government, some state, you don't necessarily get to see the impact of your work helping sort of as it happens, if you will. On a local level, you are working on a policy issue or you're working on a project, and you may turn on the news and see that project being talked about sort of that night, sort of on the nightly news or in the morning on the radio while coming in. There's pleasure in that, right? I mean, you come into public service for a specific reason, and that's to serve your community, and you really get to do that. The other side of that is that sometimes our teams, our staff, get a bad rap in terms of some of the expertise and work that is being done, and so you have to be thick-skinned. And I think in terms of the teams that I've met, the employees that I've met, they're very excited about what they're able to do in the city, the role that they're able to play in terms of making this city the best city it could be. So it is. You have to take it as it comes, if you will.
Yeah. Coming back to when you were, I guess when the Austin job opened up, or if you were kind of approached by a recruiting firm. But had you ever been to Texas before, prior to Austin?
Oh, sure.
I mean, some people will be surprised. I mean, I grew up here, but Texas is a state some people just don't want to go to. So
yeah.
Where
Well,
have you been?
In public service, there were obviously a lot of conferences in Dallas and in Houston, and I have friends in Austin, so I had been to Austin to visit. I was doing some work.
When did you come, the summer, though, or the spring, or whatever?
I had actually not done the summer in Austin,
Yeah,
so
okay.
this summer, but this summer wasn't too bad. I'm going to knock on wood.
It's relative. I mean, it was high 90s, early low hundreds, but it was it was kind of par.
And Washington D.C. definitely has a humidity that makes it feel hotter than it is
More
sometimes.
like Houston-like.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
So I was doing work with Pete with public-private partnerships and attended a few conferences in Houston. The International City County Managers Association had a few meetings in San Antonio. So I've certainly been to other cities in Texas, and then have friends in Austin where I've come and visited a few times. So certainly wasn't a stranger, but visiting is one thing. Living here, being a part of the community, helping to vision what's next for the city of Austin in terms of some of the more complex decisions that need to be made is a completely different thing. So I'm really excited to be here and to be a part of the discussion, and hopefully to help in a significant way make this city the world-class city it is and will be.
Yeah, I know. Your colleagues and the City Manager Spencer Cronk, it's relatively, in terms of age and just a new tenure, a new kind of chapter in Austin's staff leadership, right? And for those who aren't aware, at least in the city of Austin, our system is a council manager, form of government, where the city manager is, for all intents and purposes, the CEO of the city, runs the daily operations with the council serving as the board on the policy side, but also the oversight for city manager and then assistant city managers and so on down. And so with that though too, so again, you've been here 8 months. I know just from our prior conversations, coming into Austin, I think your first few months here, I think you did it right. Just meeting different groups, thinking different people in the community, given the roles, the responsibilities for the different departments you had. So now again, with some time under your belt, what initiatives or kind of goals do you have going into really, like you say, Q1 2020? We're recording this on October 7th, 2019. So I guess going into 2020, what are some objectives you kind of want to fully take on now you're almost a year in?
Well, I mean, I will say I'm personally fortunate, and I'm coming into a city that already has a very clear vision. We call it SD 23 or SD 2023. Our
SD 2023?
That's SD 2023, which is the strategic direction, the vision for the city of Austin. It's been agreed upon by our city council and supported by our city manager and really the entire government. We have restructured, if you will, our reporting relationships to mirror the strategic direction, the outcomes and priorities of our city council. So in that way, the road has been sort of laid, and we are marching down that road. I will say, just nationally, in terms of what's happening around conversations regarding community health, individual health, that I'm certainly excited to be supporting a service team, a portfolio of agencies that involve so much of what we consider that those social determinants or those factors that involve a person's health. So many of your listeners, I'm sure, know that your health and good health starts way before you get to your doctor's office, right? And so what you eat, where you live, how you play in terms of parks and recreation, the environment around you, the air you breathe, all those things factor into how long your life is and the quality of that life.
I mean, it's interesting you bring that up too, because I'm sure you saw the KUT article. It's our local NPR affiliate. This is last week, and it's something I know the mayor's talked about for the last, for your tenure here. I've heard him bring up in speeches, but just the kind of the health disparity between like East and West Austin, about 20-year difference, that divides I-35, right, which is the main thoroughfare in Austin. And again, that's stuff that's predates your tenure by far, but it's more obviously things that those agencies kind of fall. You're the front lines of those kind of issues, right? And that's something. I mean, I don't know if you just want to add any thoughts on that, other than it's definitely an imbalance, obviously.
Absolutely, and we have, as a city, we have work to do. I think in terms of this sort of equity lens, how we look at programs and services, access to our healthcare system, access to our parks and recreation amenities, access to our libraries, all these things are extremely important across our entire city. So we do have work to do in terms of making sure that the same types of things that we can brag about in terms of how impressive our parks and recreation just system is in Austin. We want to make sure that everyone gets the benefit of being able to run and bike and swim and enjoy those amenities and facilities. And so in terms of making sure that, whether you're east or west, north or south, that you have some ability to touch our system and access it is something that is absolutely a priority, certainly not just for me, but really for our entire city government. And I get the benefit of being able to support some of the agencies that have the biggest role to play in making that possible.
Yeah. Just bring this another thing to bring up too, only because it came out last Friday. But I mean, does the land development code revisions directly impact you at all, or any parts of it touch you at all? Your agency, the departments under your purview.
Sure. We are really one team. In terms of the city manager's office, so we are all working together on some of these big issues. I will say that in terms of land development, what the biggest sort of discussion piece for agencies that I support is park land dedication and sort of what that looks like when we're looking at more density, more affordability. So I think that's probably what touches me the most, and the conversation that, the Parks and Recreation Department has had with the team that's developing,
Yeah.
the draft.
And it's ongoing. I think the first draft just came out Friday, and so it's going to be, it'll be not a
Community
long
conversation.
Part of the conversation for
Right.
sure. Word of you're active in social media on Facebook. Just what's been some of your favorite parks you visited since you've been here?
Thanks for asking
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I would say, is it called? It's Mary.
Is the one in the South Austin?
It is, and they
Like off
have,
of Slaughter Lane?
yes, peacocks.
I know. Because I grew up around the area, and I go there a lot because it's like a gym. So I'm not gonna mention
Absolutely.
more than it's Mary. It's Seabrook something Lane. Look it up. But it's off of Slaughter Lane. It's a great little hidden gym. Love
Yes.
it. And it's very expansive.
Absolutely.
But I like it. I like it because it's tucked away. It's a little further out there for some folks, but.
Yeah, it is just, it's so much to be proud of.
Yeah.
I mean, so for those who are from Austin, who
They know where it's at.
I'm sure they do
Believe
know where it
that.
is, and it is that park, along with so many other trails, are just like you said, real jewels to the city, and make it just a lot to be proud of.
Yeah. Have you, we just finished ACL, Austin City Limits Fest Weekend 1, and that's in Zilker Park, which is more, I think, the crown jewel in Austin's park system. Have you had a chance to just visit that, the shape of the park with
Yes,
the ACL going on?
it is, ACL, South by Southwest, these
Mm-hmm.
are, at this point, national draws really to Austin, and so this first weekend and next weekend, I'm really enjoying, the city, enjoying the artists, making sure that we, do what we can to incentivize sort of our own residents to take full advantage of the festivals, and not just those from outside of Austin that come.
Yeah.
I do remember the name now. It's Mayfield Park and Nature Preserve.
Yes.
One of my favorite places that's a part of our Parks and Recreation system. I will say I've gone outside of Austin a little and visited a few watering holes outside of Austin that are part of the Travis County Park and Trail system as well. And so it is just, if you enjoy the outdoors, if you enjoy peace on a trail, if you enjoy biking, if you enjoy walking, there are just so many places and resources in the region to go and really enjoy the outdoors. So,
Got it. Well, Chris, I'm going to let you get back to your important work out at City Hall, but I'll leave you with the last word.
yeah, I thank you very much for creating a forum for your listeners to hear directly from public servants and from public leaders here in Austin. It really is such important work. And I will say that if anyone has any questions or would like to reach out to my office directly, please feel free. I'm happy to kind of always be available for the community and for listeners and voices. So,
Great. We'll put your contact information in the show notes. Thank you for your time.
thank you.
Hi, this is A.J. We want to again thank our sponsor, Regions Financial Corporation. With branches serving Central Texas from Austin to San Antonio and the Rio Grande Valley, Regions can help your firm with its M&A and investment banking needs, as well as specialty finance in the technology, healthcare, defense, and aerospace sectors. Learn more about Regions in the episode notes.
Thank you for listening to today's BG Podcast. You can find this episode and prior recordings at www.binghamgp.com/podcast and iTunes and Google Play. Subscribe to stay current on future posts.